Morning, Dan and Amy. You'll want to set your calendar for this Monday, not just tax day. More importantly, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., a free virtual panel moderated by the Cheryl Burton of ABC7.
Whoa, hey.
Former Honey Bear. And presented by Lincoln Forum, which is another hack shop for establishment goons. Will feature these panelists. Valerie Jarrett, Obama Foundation president. Tony Griffin, founder, Urban American City, professor in practice, Harvard Graduate School of Design. Michael Stratmanis, executive vice president for civic engagement at the Obama Foundation. All roads lead to the Obama Presidential Center getting underway in short order.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I was at it wasn't a ribbon cutting, but they were in front of the park in Jackson Park saying this is where it's going to be. And
yeah,
I talked to who was it? A union member. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to lay pipe."
Okay. Were they talking about the Obama land? Or?
They're getting the infrastructure ready. And he said, we're going to be starting at the end of May. And I said, all right, they're breaking ground.
Well, making the May 17th virtual seminar is entitled Breaking Ground, but they're not literally breaking ground, but they want to give the impression that it's full steam ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And
that little dog and pony show.
That was aided and abetted by coverage of the Supreme Court's denial of the appeal that Protect Our Parks made to review an appellate court decision handed down in August of 2020. That said, Protect Our Parks lacks standing to sue the city of Chicago in the first place over the city's approval of the center's construction on public land. So it's over, right? Well, no, not so fast. This was anticipated. Remember, we spoke with Herb Kaplan, founder of Protect Our Parks, about this. And we've spoken with the great Richard Epstein about it as well. And Protect Our Parks has filed a new lawsuit against Obamaland in U.S. District Court. They did so last month. And for more on the topic, as this saga continues, David versus Goliath, no question, we're pleased to be joined by WJT Mitchell, who is the Gaylord Donnelly Distinguished Service Professor at the University of Chicago, and he is also an expert in landscape architecture, and he's now a plaintiff in that suit that was filed last month that I mentioned. Professor Mitchell, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
I'm very glad to do it.
So, we've talked to Herb and we've talked to Richard about this, and just to restate it for people who haven't heard those conversations. Protect Our Parks, not against the Obama Presidential Center, against the location. And from your perspective, particularly as somebody who's an expert in landscape architecture, why not the location that the Obamas want?
The location is a bad choice in many respects. Probably most important is it involves the destruction of a historic work of art that took 150 years to reach maturity. It's not just the environmental presence of almost 1,000-century-old trees, but the design by Frederick Law Olmsted, which reflects a several hundred-year history of the evolution of democratic urban spaces, namely public parks. It's part of the American culture. It goes back to the 19th century to set aside public spaces, green spaces, where people can do unprogrammed activities, fishing, playing tennis, walking, listening to the wind in the trees. And the only time anyone should be able to privatize or confiscate 20 acres of a historic space like that is if there's nothing else, there's no other place to go. That's really the basis of our lawsuit. The south side of Chicago is rich in vacant lots. Mm-hmm. There's lots of places in every sense of the word that could be made beautiful and developed. And there are places that are on better mass transit lines that have quick access from downtown. So we feel that a mistake was made 5 years ago, and we're hoping the foundation obviously is a juggernaut that is not going to be stopped by the David and Goliath encounter. I'm hoping the Obamas will listen. They can change their mind about this. Nothing has been damaged yet. No trees cut down. Still time for them to do the right thing and reconsider the site. That's all we're
and there's a
asking.
lot of tree huggers out there, and they're going to be taking down hundreds of trees. And
That's
Lori
right.
Lightfoot was asked that. She said, "Well, we're going to try to go around it." No, you can't.
No, yeah, they have to clear cut. The architectural plans require them to take bulldozers and go from one end of the park to the other, clear cutting really over 1,000 trees. And we're talking about trees that are mature. These are century-old trees. They were planted in the 19th century. The idea of cutting them down, when it's not necessary, there are vacant lots. Everyone knows this everywhere on the south side of Chicago. So it's been a bad idea from the beginning, and I wish the Obamas would ask themselves, this was decided 5 years ago. How come it hasn't been done? Really, it's a simple question, and the reason is it's a bad idea. The law is against it. The law says you can't take a place like this unless there's really no other choice. You have to be able to demonstrate that, not just because you want it or you like it. Of course they like it. It's a beautiful place.
It's gorgeous.
But they're not going to. Why
Yeah.
destroy a beautiful place when you could create a new beautiful place?
Clinging to bad ideas, boy, I don't know that you're going to get them off of that disposition. But with respect to It's a Beautiful Place, I'm not sure I've heard their response to that. Why invade this beautiful space? Why not take another space that is more functional in terms of visiting it, like you were describing,
Washington Park.
and make that beautiful? Why not do that? I'm not sure I've heard a response to that argument from them.
Yes, I would like to hear a response to that argument myself. I've been mystified from the beginning, and I've heard rumors that it's because it's close to the lake. And of course, everybody wants to be close to the lake. We saw what the Lucas Museum ran into when it tried to seize a much less interesting piece of lakefront property, a parking lot south of Soldier Field. But we've never had a satisfactory answer. So I share your puzzlement about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and back to, it's a substantial amount of land for Bears fans who wanted a tailgate there, and they didn't want, a Star Wars museum or a Lucas museum right
Well,
there.
sure, you don't want to upset a pristine Bears tailgate.
No,
that needs to be protected.
There was uproar. They were mad. Don't take my land. And we were going to give it. How much was he going to buy it for? Or were we just going to give it to him, George Lucas?
So, and I think the comparison with Bears tailgate parties is a very apt one. The Lucas Museum actually had a better case. I was against it. I think Chicago's lakefront should be sacred public property. It's always being under siege from people who would love to build something there, take over. Chicago's distinction is the protection of its lakefront. It has always regarded that as forever free and open to the public. And that's why it's so magnificent. Let's not mess it up.
Those people, if you haven't gotten an answer from the Obamas, and I'm unsurprised by that, what about other people, particularly like in your space as an expert in landscape architecture, other people that are schooled in that discipline? What do they say about this? I haven't heard a lot of people rallying to, publicly at least, the protect our parks position for obvious political reasons, most likely. But I wonder if even in private conversations, you have other people in your field agreeing with you.
Oh, absolutely. And in public conversations, Charles Birnbaum, the head of the National Landscape Foundation in Washington, D.C., came to Chicago a couple of years ago. We had a public debate about the Obama Center, which was broadcast on cable TV, still archived out there. Wonderful debate with community members, experts, several hundred people attended. And we invited the Obamas and the Obama Center to send representatives. They refused. They didn't want to debate it.
Right.
And if we can accomplish one thing with this conversation, if they're listening, and I hope you'll put this to them on Monday when you speak to the foundation representatives, Valerie Jarrett, ask them, why won't you debate, why do you have to go to court? I'm a plaintiff in this lawsuit, but I'd much rather not be. I love the Obamas. I want them to have a beautiful place on the South Side. I'm totally for that. But to take a public park that it's unnecessary to do that. There's lots of prime real estate that would be much improved by their plans.
I got an idea for you, Professor. Maybe get together some of the benefactors, University of Chicago, the David Booths of the world, and say to the Obama Foundation, look, here's what we'll do. We'll pay for Trump Tower to be raised if you put the library there, because then there'll be a lot of political pressure on him to knock down Trump Tower, to agree to knock down Trump Tower, and then you put the Obama Presidential Center there. What do you think?
Okay, I'm on board.
All right. Professor WJT Mitchell, Gaylord Donnelly Distinguished Service Professor, University of Chicago, an expert in landscape architecture, and as he just mentioned, a plaintiff in the new suit filed last month by Protect Our Parks against the location of the Obama land. Professor Mitchell, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. And could I say one thing to your commuters who are listening from their cars?
Sure.
Yes. If the Obama Center is built, Cornell Drive will disappear from the world. Your commute from Indiana or from anywhere south of Hyde Park in Chicago is going to be doubled the commute time. So beware.
That's a good point. Okay. Thank you, Professor. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Your credit score is the #1 factor that determines your interest rate. Everyone has 3 scores, and lenders use the middle score when securing a mortgage. The difference between a 699 and 740 credit score on a $250,000 mortgage is an additional $25,000 in mortgage payments over the life of a 30-year fixed loan. You heard me, an additional $25,000 in payments. To enhance your credit, pay off or pay down your credit cards every Friday and get added as an authorized user on a credit card of somebody with outstanding credit. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners enhance their credit to secure the lowest rate before purchasing a new home or refinancing their existing home, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843. or visit 56david.com. Homesite Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
If you have kids in school, this past year has been a major wake-up call, as suddenly many of the things you once took for granted changed overnight. For many students, school is still happening mainly online, and for some school districts, that seems to be the way it will be for a while, despite what Randy Weingarten said yesterday. But it's not the case with many private schools. Most private schools have been in classrooms since last August, and students have been receiving a high-quality education from teachers who share your values. Do you want your child to suffer through another year of virtual learning? No. So now is the time to consider a private school, and the most affordable way to do that is through halfpriceschools.com. Right now, vouchers are available for 50% off the normal tuition for private schools across Chicagoland, including Chicago Hope Academy on the west side of the city, Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights, Faith Evangelical Lutheran in Antioch, Kingswood Academy in Darien, Trinity Lutheran School in Lombard, and Lake County Baptist School in Waukegan, to name but a few. Go to halfpriceschools.com today, search for a school near you, and purchase a voucher. Then prepare to send your child back to school this fall, in classroom, to a school you can trust. Visit halfpriceschools.com today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Changing the world,